let's jump into it. Hello, everyone. Hi. Aw, thanks for watching my YouTube. I appreciate it. Let me actually like reposition my Instagram, folks, so that you're like not off to the side. Oh, hello. This little setup is cute. This works. Okay. So happy Tuesday. I am broadcasting live from my office, and I actually love broadcasting here because I feel like the lighting is better. But so folks who are watching my stream on like Facebook and LinkedIn, like they get like a full wide view. They can see like all behind me, and like you guys just kind of get to see my face. So hey, Instagram. Oh, you brought the affirmation cards to your workshop. That's so awesome. Thank you so much for supporting the affirmation cards. There are still some left for pre-order if you missed out, and the link is in my bio. But let me jump in. I know it's your lunch breaks, and for those, some of you are just really busy right now. So let me go ahead and introduce myself super fast. My name is Kashaira. I am a business and brand coach. I specialize in helping small business owners and startups create magnetic messaging and then develop consistent revenue in their businesses. I do that through my one-on-one coaching programs, my membership community called Fearless Founders, and through my books, which are available on Amazon. So someone actually on Instagram just said, can I pin my book? My books are linked in my bio, honey. If you actually just click the link in my bio, there's a button that says Shop Kashaira's Books on Amazon. My books are only sold on Amazon, so that's where you can check them out, and you can also search my name. So that's actually a really great question. But today we're talking about why it seems like nothing is working. Has anyone tuned in ever felt like that, where you feel like from a business standpoint, maybe from a life standpoint, but from a business standpoint, it feels like nothing you're doing is working. Nothing you're putting out is converting, and you're just feeling frustrated, right? And I feel like for me, I've definitely had those experiences throughout my business journey where I feel like I'm putting my all into this, like I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm checking my boxes and nothing is working and something's got to give. I'm not seeing any traction. If you are feeling like this, I've been there. How you are feeling is normal and you can and will get out of it. So let me be the encouragement that you might have needed to let you know that. So let me actually take this overlay off because that webinar is not even a thing anymore. Let's see, so you guys can just see me. So I have 5 points for you today that I want to talk to you about around what may be the cause of why you're feeling like that. Because a lot of times what I've found in my experiences is that when you feel like nothing's working and you feel like you're at the end of your rope, it's not even really what you're doing, it's more so how you're doing it. Also, at times, the energy behind it. And of course, we have to touch on our ever recurring theme of mindset. Remember, I always tell you, you can do the exact steps that someone gives you. You can follow the exact roadmap. But if your mindset isn't right and you don't actually believe in yourself and believe that you're capable of achieving whatever it is you're going after, it's not going to work. It's going to be a case of self-sabotage. So order your notes. Points 1 through 5. Let's jump into the first one. So one of the first reasons why you could be feeling this level of frustration and feeling like nothing's working is because you may be in a state where you're comparing yourself to other people. So you may have heard of the phrase comparison syndrome, right? And so thinking about you're comparing your chapter 2 to somebody else's chapter 22. And this could manifest itself in a number of ways, right? This could look like you're getting on Instagram and you're looking at, I feel like Instagram is an easy target for this, right? Because we all just kind of like mindlessly scroll through Insta. But like you could really be looking at, let's say you're a coach, you're looking at another coach's offers and their marketing, and you feel like I need my flyers to look like this, and I need the exact software they're using to market their webinar, and I need the exact webinar software, and I need the exact all of this. And now you end up with a $200 and some bill because you're trying to keep up with the Joneses versus recognizing that, hey, where you are, it may not make sense for you to pay for Kartra and ClickFunnels and Webinar Jam right now. Like I know when I built my first 6 figures, I don't even think I had Kartra yet. I was still using YouTube Live and Squarespace to do my webinars and do my marketing, and I was still making money. It's like as you advance, of course, getting these tools helps with capacity It helps with strengthening your back end, but these things aren't requirements for success. And when you're so busy comparing yourself to someone else's journey, you start to think that I need to now check the boxes and do the things that this person is doing right now versus what was that person doing on their path to get to where they are right now. This is why people sometimes get a little frustrated when they'll ask me, well, what tool are you using? Because like I always tell them right back, the tool in itself doesn't really matter. There are so many tools that do a lot of the same thing. What matters is what's your actual budget and what functionality are you looking for? Because again, you're just getting started. You just launched for the first time. You're comparing yourself to me who's been doing this for 5 years, right? So comparing yourself to someone else just causes imminent frustration because the playing field is not level, it's not fair, it's not equal, and all it's going to make you do is feel like you're never enough. It's going to feel like it's going to make you feel like you're never good enough. It's going to make you feel like you need to keep putting money behind things you don't need to put money behind. That money can go towards other stuff. And it's just not a realistic approach and not a realistic view. And so if you find yourself always being like, let me figure out what template she's using, or let me figure out what software he has, or let me figure out like X, Y, and Z, versus really thinking about how can I best show up and best serve my audience and best get noticed by the people who I'm actually called to help, then that may be a telltale sign that it's time for a digital detox. It may be time for you to take a step back from social or clean up your timeline because you don't want to start to miss out on what you're actually supposed to be doing because you're kind of chasing after other people, right? So that's one of the first things we wanted to talk about. Stop comparing your chapter 2 to somebody else's chapter 22. Just because you found us last night don't mean we popped up last night, you know? Like a lot of people look like overnight successes, but they've been grinding for years, 5, 10, 12 years, right? And again, that judgment gets clouded. So make sure that you're keeping your head and your mind clear. So then the second point number 2, another thing that could be causing this is you're replicating what you're seeing online versus honing in on your zone of genius. So here's what I mean by you replicating what you're seeing online. If you follow a lot of people who do what you do or who do very similar things, and you see that there's like some similarities in how they're offering things, you might start to do that. So an example could be you are a really, really good coach, but for whatever reason, you now want to create a course because everybody else is creating a course. Not realizing that having a course may not be for you or may not be for you right now. But again, you're being blinded by what you're seeing online. You see, oh, here's another example. Oh, these people are all hosting retreats. Let me host a retreat. I'd rather you host a retreat because you actually want to, something you're passionate about and you care about, versus just doing it because the homegirl on your timeline is doing so, right? Or this is my ultimate pet peeve, actually changing your niche because of what you think is popular, right? It's like your specialty can be whatever it is, real estate, fashion, fitness, hair, beauty, whatever, but it's like, oh, well, it seems like business coaches are making all the money. Let me be a business coach. And it's like, you can stay in your zone of genius and still make money. You don't have to be a coach to make money. You don't have to be a business coach to make money. But it like stresses me out when I see people who I'm like, you're so talented and have so many strengths in these other areas, but for whatever reason, now you want to be a business coach and now you want to have a mastermind and now you want to have a retreat. But like, why though? Versus, hey, I've had success in these things. I'm really passionate about it. And here I am. Because again, when you do that, you're not really walking in your calling. Things aren't going to always go your way. And then you're going to get back to this point of frustration and feeling like nothing's working. I'm going to throw in the towel. And now the world is still missing your voice in the space where your voice is actually meant to be. So I challenge you to think about the moves that you're starting to make in your business and the lanes you're starting to get in and the areas you're expanding to. Are you doing this because it feels natural to you, it feels like your calling? Or are you doing this because it's what's trendy and what's popular? So that's something that I want you to, obviously think about it, keep it to yourself, but it's really, really important. And even for me in my scaling journey, one thing that I've been talking with my coach a lot about is that as I look to scale my coaching business, I don't want to become one of the people, and this is not a bad thing, this isn't shade, but like, I don't want to be like a one course, once a year kind of person where everything is just super automated and I don't have any touch, because for me, actually working with my clients and talking with my clients is what fuels me. It is what gives me energy. It is what keeps me going. And so right now, for me at this point in life, the route of using courses to scale doesn't make sense to me. I'm now in the route of using high-end and intensive mastermind programs, group coaching programs, and high-end retreats as my opportunity for scaling, where I still have high touch, high impact, because I really care about the results. And so this is an example of like literally me real life saying like, hey, the industry is trending this way, but I want to go this way because this is where I feel like my calling is and where my purpose is and where I feel the most in alignment. So think about what that looks like for you. Point number 3. Another reason why you might be feeling frustrated and feeling like nothing's working and feeling like this is just not it is you may not know who you're actually meant to serve, or you may not have clarity on who you're meant to serve. So I've worked with a lot of people who put the cart before the horse. So this looks like creating your product or your service first and then trying to figure out who it's for afterwards, and trying to make people fit into this box. And that's why your messaging is a little iffy and all over the place, and why you're struggling with the marketing and making this thing a must-have offer. So thinking about, how do I now switch that path? So when I coach my clients in my programs, we actually start with, first, what's your zone of genius and who does your zone of genius best serve? Who needs you the absolute most? Whose number one problem can you solve? And then we build the signature service after that. Which actually reminds me, I'm doing a free webinar next Wednesday. It's called Position for Power. The link is in my Instagram bio. It's also linked in the title of this live stream. But basically in that class, we're going to go deeper into this concept of like, how do you now create a solid foundation for your business where when you launch stuff, it doesn't stress you out and it actually sells? Because a lot of times we have great ideas for products or services, but we don't have the foundation there. Like I just talking to my mastermind about this last night. It's like we haven't actually spent the time figuring out who we're meant to serve and then actually cultivating that audience. It's like we just keep all of this stuff in our heads. We build up this program. We hope that it's going to work and we just drop it like a mixtape and we try to sit back and wait and see what happens. But it's like, no, like, you have to know exactly who you're for, and you have to eliminate that scarcity mindset of, if I'm too specific, then I'm going to miss out on money. Honey, listen, I'm very clear about who I work with and what I help them do, and I still get everybody and their mama and their uncle and their brother in my DMs asking if I can help them, asking if I can come and speak. I'm not losing out because I'm niching down. I'm actually getting more people because now everybody's just so intrigued around what's going on over here. So we have to, once we eliminate that mindset block and eliminate that limiting belief, the doors of possibilities literally open up. And I promise you, creating marketing content and social media content becomes so much easier because we're no longer reaching for the stars and trying to make sure everybody feels included. Like that is the hardest marketing plan to create, the one where everybody feels included. It's like they're just not, right? And so if you aren't clear on your business's UVP, which is your value proposition, your zone of genius, and who you're meant to serve, all of this is going to stress you out. Everything that we're going to talk about in the coming days on my live, what we're going to talk about in the webinar, all of that stuff is going to stress you off. Sometimes it's going to piss you off, and it's going to make you be like, I quit. I'm done. I'm going back to a 9 to 5. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. But this is not the fun stuff, right? Actually sitting down and doing real market research, especially the way that I teach it, is not fun. It's not sexy. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. There's no graphics here. Like it's actual data that we're looking at. There's actual focus groups that we're doing and interviews that we're doing. And if you've already been servicing clients, we're actually looking back at who you've been working with and what the consistencies are and what's been going on. But if you don't know who you serve, it's absolutely going to feel like none of your marketing is working. Your content's not going to get engagement. Your videos aren't going to convert. Your emails won't be open because you're not speaking to the right people. So that's another thing to think about. And this is important to also note because you have to take ego out of it. a lot of times when we're feeling this frustration of nothing's working in my business, we take it personally. It's like, it's me, nobody likes me, nobody wants to work with me, nobody. And it's like, it's not about you, it's about the customer. You aren't speaking to the customer. You aren't making your customer feel like you're the one for them. You aren't making your customer understand that you can solve their problem. So take ego out of it and have a customer-centric approach. So the next thing that could be causing this very much connects to point 3, which is inconsistent messaging. And you don't have to expose yourself, but I know we all have seen somebody on social media at some point in life whose messaging changed like every day. Like their specialty was something different every day. It was a new product that was drastically different from the next. Like every day, it's like one day you're social media manager, and then tomorrow you're a life coach, and now you can help me get abs. And it's very, very confusing, right? And I know that's a very drastic and dramatic example, but it happens every single day. We have to be consistent with our messaging. And so in my program, specifically my mastermind, I teach having a signature offer and having consistent messaging around that offer and getting comfortable with the process of consistently creating content around this one thing. And it's like, yes, you are going to be saying very similar things, but you're not necessarily repeating yourself. But the benefit of having one core thing that you sell is that it's actually easier to create consistent messaging. It's like, I was on a podcast interview recently, and the guy that was interviewing me, he said, one thing I love about you is that whenever I tune into your content, even if it's not all the time, like you'll just kind of sporadically tune in, he's like, the messaging is always consistent. There's always consistent things I can pull out from your messaging, which are always very important reminders for me. And that's such a good compliment for a marketer to hear. It's like, yes, I'm glad, because now you can easily articulate what I'm good at, my value proposition. You can refer me out to people, like, you know what I'm about, you know what you're going to get over here. Don't nobody want to work with someone that they don't know what they're going to get over there. They don't want to work with somebody that seems inconsistent, that seems like one day they're way over here and one day they're way over there. You need consistent messaging. You need consistent things that ring true for your business and your brand. So thinking about your core values, your pillars, your frameworks, like your vision, like those things need to be consistent. But these are things you have to build out. Have you actually wrote down your mission and vision? Have you actually wrote out your UVP? Have you actually wrote out your frameworks? Have you actually wrote out the story behind your brand? Have you actually built out what makes your product special, right? Thinking about like a cleaning brand like a Clorox, like if you ask 5 people from Clorox what makes their little, their detergent, whatever, so special, they're going to go to the same like bulleted points, like it's X, it's Y, it's Z, I don't know nothing about Clorox, but I'm pretty sure they have their like things, right? And so thinking about for our business, it's like this is what I meant yesterday in yesterday's video where I said, we have to stop flying by the seat of our pants, because that's where inconsistencies come from. We don't have anything documented. We don't have anything written down. We haven't built out our brand stories, and we aren't clear on what makes us stand out in the market. This is the hard work. This is the hard work. I actually feel like selling is the easy part. Once you have all of these things down packed, selling, you're actually making it easier for yourself to sell if you do a lot of the foundational work. This is why you need to be in next week's webinar, because we're going to talk about this. There's a 10-step framework. That class might be a little long. I'm trying to make it short, but it's a 10-step framework that we have to go through around, like, how do you actually position your business for power? How do you actually brand and market yourself for success and longevity? So again, the link is in my bio and in the title of this. So the last point that I have for you, we'll wrap up here. The last thing that could be causing you to feel like nothing's working and to feel like you're really frustrated with everything that you're doing in your business is that you may have some limiting beliefs that are causing self-sabotage. And so this very much connects to my story that I told you all from what I was dealing with in 2017 of doing literally everything. I'm, selling services, I'm selling digital products, I'm marketing, I'm consistent, I'm showing up, like what's going on, but like the coins is not there, like what's happening. And a lot of that was just because of limiting beliefs of not actually feeling like I'm capable of making a certain amount of money, or I'm capable of actually leaving my job, or I'm capable of seeing X, Y, and Z happen in my business. And that's why Shift Your Power affirmations is a whole thing, because you have to spend some time thinking about, are there any beliefs, whether it's money related or not, but are there any beliefs that are in your way that could be causing you to self-sabotage your business? Like, here's an example. if you get an invitation, like I actually got one this morning. I got an invitation this morning to go to a networking event where the organization hosting it is for business owners. But to be a member, your business has to have grossed $1 million or more. So I told them, I'm like, I don't qualify for that. And they're like, pull up anyway, right? They're like, you're still a prospect, pull up. So I'm going to pull up. But thinking about if you had a limiting belief around worth and value, you may talk yourself out of going to this event with these $1 million business owners because you may feel imposter syndrome. You may feel like you don't fit. You may feel like you're going to be laughed at. Like you start making up all of these different excuses of what could go wrong versus thinking about all of the things that could go right. And so that's an example of like a limiting belief and how it could present itself of like feeling like you don't belong somewhere and then you end up missing out on something that could actually shift the trajectory of your business. And so again, I think sometimes too with the online space, and we hear something like a limiting belief or mindset, we think it's all about money, but it's not always about money. You may not have an issue charging $5,000 for your service, but you might have an issue popping up in certain rooms with people who will actually pay the $5,000 for your service. So that's something for you to think about. So with that, it's almost 1 o'clock, so I am going to wrap up, let you all get back to your work day. If you enjoyed this live stream, please do me a favor. Share this replay. If you're on Instagram, take a cute little screenshot, post it on your stories and tag me. If you're on Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, please share this out with your community. I will be back on live for you all tomorrow per my calendar. Tomorrow evening, ideally, probably around 7:30 or 8. My calendar is slammed because ridiculous right now. So I'll be back tomorrow and we're going to talk about continuing on with this, and we're going to talk about why it feels like getting clients is like pulling teeth. So if that's something that you feel right now at this moment in time, make sure you join me tomorrow night on live stream and we're going to talk about that. With that, have an amazing rest of your day and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.